A leader emerges, the early years of George Washington. George Washington was born in Virginia in 1732, in a modest plantation home along the banks of the Potomac River. He grew up on a farm, surrounded by the rhythms of colonial agricultural life. His father, Augustine Washington, died when George was just 11 years old, leaving the family in a challenging situation. Washington learned to be responsible at an early age. He became a surveyor, a profession that required precision and a keen understanding of the land. This meant he measured land, often traveling through the rugged wilderness of Virginia. He joined the Virginia militia as a young man, eager to serve and protect his community. He learned about leadership and military strategy, skills that would become crucial in his later life. Washington's early experiences shaped him into a resilient and determined individual. He learned the importance of hard work, often toiling alongside laborers on the farm. He valued honesty and integrity, principles instilled in him by his family and community. He developed a strong sense of duty and responsibility, always striving to do what was right. These qualities would serve him well in the years to come, as he faced numerous challenges and adversities. By his early 20s, Washington had gained a reputation as a capable leader, known for his strategic mind and unwavering resolve. He was known for his courage and decisiveness, often leading his men from the front lines. He was respected by those who served under him, earning their loyalty and admiration. These traits would prove invaluable when the time came for him to lead a nation, guiding America through its fight for independence and beyond. Answering the call, Washington takes command. In 1775, tensions between the American colonies and Great Britain reached a boiling point. The colonies were growing increasingly frustrated with British rule. The colonists felt that their rights were being violated. They believed they deserved the same rights as British citizens. They were upset about unfair taxes. The Stamp Act and the Townshend Acts were particularly infuriating. They wanted representation in the British government. No taxation without representation became their rallying cry. When the Revolutionary War began, the Continental Congress needed a leader. They chose George Washington, a man who had already proven his leadership in the French and Indian War. He was a respected military man. His experience and demeanor made him the ideal candidate. He was also a man of great integrity. His peers trusted him implicitly. He was reluctant to accept the position, but he knew his duty. Washington understood the gravity of the situation. Washington took command of the Continental Army. He knew the challenges ahead would be immense. It was a ragtag group of farmers and shopkeepers. These men were not professional soldiers. They were poorly trained and equipped. Many lacked proper uniforms and weapons. Washington faced a daunting task. He had to instill discipline and unity in his troops. He had to turn this group of volunteers into a fighting force. Through perseverance and strategic thinking, Washington began to mold the Continental Army into a formidable opponent. A test of resolve, early challenges, and triumphs. The early years of the war were difficult for Washington and his army. They faced many challenges. The British army was much stronger. They had better weapons and more experience. Washington suffered several defeats early in the war. He lost the Battle of Long Island. He was forced to retreat from New York City. His army suffered through a terrible winter at Valley Forge. Many men died from disease and starvation. Despite these setbacks, Washington never gave up. He rallied his troops. He inspired them to keep fighting. He knew that the fate of the nation rested on his shoulders. Section 4. The Tide Turns. Strategic Victories and Shifting Fortunes. Washington was a brilliant strategist, a man who understood the complexities of warfare and the importance of adaptability. He knew that he couldn't defeat the British in a conventional war, given their superior numbers and resources. Instead, he had to use unconventional tactics, employing guerrilla warfare to outmaneuver and outsmart the British forces. Washington's goal was to wear down the British army, to stretch their supply lines and exhaust their troops. He aimed to make the war too costly for them to continue, both in terms of resources and morale. Over time, Washington's strategy began to pay off, as the British found themselves increasingly bogged down and demoralized. One of his key victories came at Trenton, where he led a daring attack across the icy Delaware River. He surprised the Hessian troops there, catching them off guard, and securing a much-needed morale boost for his forces. Another significant victory was at Saratoga, a battle that proved to be a turning point in the war. This victory was so impactful that it convinced France to join the war on the side of the Americans, providing crucial support. The French alliance marked a significant turning point, as it brought additional troops, supplies, and naval support. France's involvement provided the Americans with much-needed supplies and troops, bolstering their efforts against the British. With the help of the French, Washington was able to orchestrate a decisive victory at Yorktown, effectively ending the war. This final battle at Yorktown marked the end of the Revolutionary War, securing American independence and changing the course of history. Section 5. The importance of leadership, Washington's enduring qualities. George Washington's leadership was essential to American victory in the Revolutionary War. He possessed a rare combination of qualities. These qualities made him the perfect man to lead the nation to independence. Washington was a man of great courage. He never wavered in his belief that America could win its independence. He led his troops from the front. He shared their hardships. He inspired them to keep fighting even when things seemed hopeless. He was also a man of great integrity. He was known for his honesty, fairness, and sense of justice. He earned the trust and respect of his men. He was a symbol of the ideals for which they were fighting. Section 6. A hard-won victory, securing independence for a new nation. After 8 long years of war, the American colonies finally achieved their independence. It was a hard-fought victory. It came at a great cost. Thousands of Americans had died in the fight. The Treaty of Paris was signed in 1783. Great Britain recognized the independence of the United States of America. The new nation faced many challenges. It had to rebuild after years of war. It had to create a new government. George Washington played a key role in this process. He presided over the Constitutional Convention. He was elected as the first president of the United States. Section 7. A legacy forged, Washington's enduring impact on America. George Washington is known as the father of his country. He's considered one of the greatest leaders in American history. He played a pivotal role in the founding of the United States. Washington's legacy is immense. He led the Continental Army to victory in the Revolutionary War. He helped to create a new form of government. He set the standard for future presidents. Washington's story is an inspiration to us all. He reminds us that even ordinary people can achieve extraordinary things. He teaches us that leadership, courage, and determination can overcome even the greatest obstacles.